Alrighty, guys, the Bruins take on the Senators, 7 o'clock Eastern puck drop on Tuesday, December 27th, 2022. Boston's the $1.90 favorite, total 6.5. Jeremy Swayman in net for Boston, Cam Talbot for Ottawa. And if you want to see which one of these free picks on my channel that I'm actually betting on personally, games that I personally have action on, I'll include a link for my website in the description section below or in the bio, however you're watching this. And even though Cam's got some solid numbers, he's winning just 50% of his starts this year. Now, the Senators also have a losing record at home, and they're allowing more first-period goals a game at home than any other club in hockey. They're facing a Boston team who has little issue scoring goals themselves. They're in the top 3 in goals per contest. They're led by David Pastrnak, who's got 24 goals on the year. Now, defenseman Hampus Lindholm, he's a league best plus 27. When it comes to the injury report, the Bruins are mostly healthy at the moment. No real significant scratches I can report to you as of right now. Meanwhile, for Ottawa on the other side, Mott, Chartier, Brandstrom, and Sanderson, they're all listed as questionable. Now, when it comes to the total, Ottawa saw overs against the likes of Detroit, Dallas, and LA. Meanwhile, Boston went 8-5 to the over while traveling this year. I'm going to lean toward Boston minus 1.5, over 6.5. Next game, Blackhawks, Hurricanes, 7 o'clock Eastern start time. Carolina's the $4.50 favorite, total 6. Pyotr Kochetkov for Carolina, Peter Mrazek for Chicago. Now, Mrazek's winning just 20% of his starts this season. He's got himself a goals against average in the 4s. And even if Peter does have a good start today, the Blackhawks really have little chance of outscoring Carolina. These guys are averaging fewer goals a game than any other team in hockey. Now, they also have to face Pyotr Kochetkov in the net, and he's been nearly unbeatable. The netminder's 10-1 on the year with a 194 goals against average. And if that ain't tough enough, these Hurricane defensive lines are allowing only 24 shots on goal a game in the PNC Arena. Now, defenseman Jacob Slavin, he's a +8 when he's on a shift. Meanwhile, Andrei Svechnikov, he's the club leader in goals. When it comes to the injury report, Andre Case is still out with a concussion. And when it comes to the number, Carolina's 9-5 to the under in the PNC Arena. Meanwhile, 3 out of Chicago's last 4 on the road did stay under the total themselves. I'm going to lean toward Carolina minus 1.5, under 6. Next game, Caps, Rangers, 7 o'clock Eastern start time. The New York Rangers are minus 155, total 6. Igor Shesterkin for New York, Darcy Kemper for Washington. Now, the Darce man has a goals against average in the 2s, along with a .916 save percentage. Meanwhile, as a team, the Red Hot Caps won their last 4 straight. They posted a record of 9-1 straight up in their last 10. Defenseman Nick Jensen, he's a +9 when he's on a shift. Meanwhile, Alex Ovechkin's the club leader in goals with 22. Now, the Caps are facing a Rangers team who really hasn't been great against the puck line at home. These guys are just 7-11 against the number at Madison Square Garden. They're also in the bottom 10 in home goals per game. Now, injury-wise, the Rangers are relatively healthy at the moment. No significant scratches as of right now. Meanwhile, for Washington on the other side, TJ Oshie and John Carlson, they are questionable. Now, total-wise, the Caps went 60% to the under in their last 10. They're also 61% to the under for the entire season. I'm going to lean toward the Capitals plus 1.5, under 6. Next game, Penguins, Islanders, 7:30 p.m. East. Pittsburgh's minus 140, totals 5.5. Tristan Jarry for the Pens, Ilya Sorokin, for the Islanders. Now, Sorokin's got a .237 goals against average and a .923 save percentage. Meanwhile, as a team, the Isles do a nice job keeping the puck out of the net at home. They're giving up just 2.5 goals a game in the UBS Arena. Defenseman Ryan Pulock's a +10 when he's on the ice. Meanwhile, big bad Brock Nelson, he leads the club in goals. Now, they're facing a Pittsburgh squad who lost 2 out of their last 3. and they're allowing 34 shots on goal a game. And even worse than that, the Pens are allowing a lot of goals late in games. Pittsburgh's in the bottom 10 in third period goals allowed on the road. Now, injury-wise, Archibald and Poling are questionable for the Pens. Meanwhile, for New York, on the other side, Chizikas and Salo are questionable. When it comes to the total, 3 out of the Isles' last 4 at home fell under the number. Meanwhile, Pittsburgh went 60% to the under in their last 10. I'm going to lean toward the Islanders plus 1.5, under 5.5. Next game, it is going to be Stars Preds, 8 o'clock Eastern start time. Dallas is minus 135, total 6. Jake Oettinger for Dallas, UC Saros for Nashville. And even though Saros does give these guys a chance, the Preds as a team, they've been pretty bad recently. They're just 2-7 straight up in their last 9. And they're scoring only 2.7 goals a game in their own arena. Now they're facing a Dallas club who won 6 out of their last 9 themselves. And they play some pretty tough defense. They're in the top 5 in fewest road goals allowed. They also have Otzi in the net, who's 14-5 with a goals against average in the low 2s. Now when it comes to offensive production, the Stars are currently in the top 5 in goals per game. When it comes to the injury report, Goryanov is still out for the Stars. Meanwhile, for Nashville, McDonough is still out for them. When it comes to the total, the Preds are 63% to the under in the Bridgestone Arena. Meanwhile, Dallas is 12-6 to the under as the road team. I'm going to lean toward the Stars, minus 135, under 6. Next contest, Wild Jets, 8 o'clock Eastern puck drop. Minnesota's the $1.20 favorite on the road, total 6. Phil Gustafson for the Wild, Connor Hellebuck for Winnipeg. Now Connor 16-8 in the net with a .928 save percentage. Now the Jets are allowing just 2.1 goals a game at the Canada Life Center, and they're led by defenseman Josh Morrissey, who's a plus 15. When it comes to scoring, Mark Scheifele's the club leader with 20 goals. Now they're facing a Minnesota team who has a tough time getting on the scoreboard on the road themselves. These guys are averaging only 2.7 goals a game in their travels, and they're also in the bottom 10 in third period scoring on the road. Now, injury-wise, Middleton and Shaw are still out for the Wild. Meanwhile, for Winnipeg, Stanley, Appleton, and Perfetti are still out for them. Comes to the total, Winnipeg's 12-5 to the under in their own building. Meanwhile, Minnesota went 60% to the under on the road this year themselves. I'm going to lean toward Winnipeg plus $1, under 6. Next game, Leafs Blues, 8 o'clock Eastern start time. Toronto's minus 175, total 6. Ilya Samsonov for the Leafs, Jordan Binnington for St. Louis. Now, Jordy's had a bit of a rough year. He's got a goals against average in the 3s along with an .896 save percentage. And no real surprise here, guys. The Blues are allowing nearly 4 goals a game in front of their own crowd. They're facing a Leafs team who won 7 out of their last 10. They also do a pretty nice job of scoring early in games. The Leafs are currently in the top 5 in the league in first period goals on the road. And of course, William Nylander, he has a team-high 20 goals on the year. Now, defenseman Tim Liljegren's a plus 16 when he's on the ice. When it comes to defensive play, Toronto's giving up fewer goals a game than every other team in the NHL except for one. And I'll tell you what, some of that is thanks to Ilya Samsonov, who's winning 77% of his starts, and he also has a .207 goals against average. Now, injury-wise, Victor Mite and Nick Robertson, they're both still out. Meanwhile, for St. Louis, Jordan Kyrou, he is questionable with an upper body injury. When it comes to the total, 2 out of St. Louis's last 3 at home did stay under the number. Meanwhile, Toronto saw unders against the likes of Tampa Bay, New York Rangers, and Los Angeles. I'm going to lean toward the Leafs, minus 175, under 6. Next matchup, it is going to be Avalanche Coyotes, 9 o'clock Eastern start time. Colorado's the $2.20 favorite, totals 5.5. Alex Gorgiev for Colorado, Connor Ingram for Arizona. Now, Connor Ingram's been horrible in the crease this year. He's 1-7 through 8 starts with the goals against average in the 4s. And even worse news for Connor, well, these Arizona defensive lines, they're allowing 37 shots on goal a game at home. Now they're facing a Colorado team who loves getting pucks on net, giving themselves plenty of chances. They're actually amongst the leaders in the West in offensive shots on goal a game. Mikko Rantanen has a team best 23 goals on the year. And when it comes to the defensive end of the ice, well, not many teams are tougher to score against than Colorado. These guys allow just 2.6 goals a game. They're led by netminder Alex Gorgiev, who has a 925 save percentage for Gorgiev. Now, injury-wise, Kolianu is questionable. Nikushkin and Francouz are out. Meanwhile, for Arizona, Michelli's questionable. When it comes to the total, the Lightning saw 4 out of their last 6 at home get over the total. They also went 60% to the over in their last 10 at any location. I'm going to lean toward Colorado, minus 1.5, over 5.5 goals. Next game, it is going to be Oilers Flames, 9 o'clock Eastern start time. Calgary's minus 145, total 6.5. Jacob Markstrom for Calgary, Stu Skinner for Edmonton. Now, Stu's got double-digit wins in the net, along with a .911 save percentage. When it comes to offensive production, not many teams are scoring more than Edmonton. These guys are in the top 3 in goals per contest, and they're led by Connor McDavid, who has a league-high 30 goals. Now, the Oilers are facing a Calgary team who lost 6 out of their last 9, and they're giving up most of their goals early in games. The Flames are giving up more first-period goals at home than any other franchise in hockey, except for one. When it comes to offensive production, the Flames do tend to throttle down late in contests. They're currently in the bottom 3 and third periods scoring. Now, injury-wise, Tanev and Killington are still on the IR. Meanwhile, for Edmonton, Kane and Broberg are still out for them. When it comes to the total, the Oilers are 63% to the over in their road trips. Meanwhile, Calgary's 7-3 to the over in their last 10. I'm going to lean toward Edmonton plus 1.5, over 6.5 goals. Next contest, it is going to be Sharks Canucks, 10 o'clock Eastern start time. Vancouver's minus 135, total 6.5. Spencer Martin for Vancouver, James Reimer for San Jose. And even though Reimer's record hasn't been great, he does technically still have a goals against average in the 2s, along with a .904 save percentage. When it comes to offensive production, the Sharks do like to get started early. They're in the top 5 in first period goals. They're led by Timo Meier, who has 18 goals on the season. Now they're facing a Vancouver club who plays their worst hockey at Rogers Arena. These guys have a win percentage of just .375 in their own building. They're also allowing more goals a game at home than any other team in hockey except for one. Goaltender Spencer Martin, he's got a goals against average in the high 3s along with an .884 save percentage. When it comes to offensive production, the Canucks are currently in the bottom 5 in first period scoring at home. Now, total-wise, the Canucks went 60% to the over in their last 10. Meanwhile, San Jose saw 7 out of their last 10 get over the total themselves. I'm going to lean toward the Sharks plus $1.15, over 6.5. And with that, guys, we're going to jump into our next and final matchup. It is going to be Golden Knights Kings, 10:30 Eastern start time. The LA Kings are minus 120, total 6. Phoenix Copley for the Kings, Logan Thompson for Vegas. Now, Logan's doing a bang-up job in the net here this year. He's 16-8 with a .266 goals against average. Meanwhile, as a team, the Knights are allowing only 2.7 goals a game. But it's not just defense with this team. These guys can definitely score. They're averaging more goals a game on the road than any other club in hockey. Riley Smith's leading the club in goals with 17. Now they're facing a Kings team on the other side of things who's having some trouble on defense. These guys are in the bottom 10 in goals allowed, and they're also allowing the majority of their goals in the second period. Now, injury-wise, Kaliyev is questionable for the Kings. Moore is out. Meanwhile, for Vegas on the other side, Jonathan Marchessault is questionable. Now, when it comes to the total, the Knights are 11-6 to the over away from Vegas. They've also gone 60% to the over in their last 10 at any location. I'm going to lean toward the Golden Knights plus $1, over 6. And with that, guys, we're going to go ahead and jump into our quick pick recap. I like Boston -1.5 over 6.5 goals. Carolina -1.5 under 6. Washington +1.5 under 6 goals. And guys, real quick, if you're joining me here on TikTok today, please feel free to give this video a like by smashing that heart button. And if you haven't followed me already, please feel free to give me a follow. I'd love to connect with you on a daily basis. I like the Islanders +1.5 under 5.5 goals. Dallas -135 under 6. Winnipeg +$1 under 6 goals. Toronto -175 under 6. Colorado -1.5 over 5.5 goals. Edmonton +1.5 over 6.5. San Jose +$1.15 over 6.5. With my next and final free pick, I'm going to lean toward Vegas +$1 over 6. And with that, guys, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on patreon.com/BrockPage. Now, if you guys do end up getting a membership here today on my website, just keep in mind, you're going to get access to that membership for the next 30 days. And as an added bonus, you're also going to get access to all of my cheaper memberships absolutely free. They're going to be included with your purchase. But most importantly, guys, got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. With that said, guys, happy Tuesday to you. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage.